For the second time in a week, a Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School student has died of an apparent suicide.
Father of one of the Sandy Hook victims has taken his own life this morning.
Man, if there was ever a week that exemplifies the long-standing effects of these horrific shootings, it was last week. After surviving an unimaginable nightmare, two former Parkland students took their own lives in what are being described as apparent suicides. Sydney Aiello, a 2018 graduate of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, and another student who has yet to be identified, both passed away last week. And then today, a father who lost his child in the Sandy Hook massacre was found dead in an apparent suicide. 3 lives lost in 1 week. 3 suicides in 1 week, man, because of our inability to address this issue. Well, what do these deaths tell us? Well, 1, that the effects of mass shootings go far beyond the day itself, and 2, there is not enough focus being put on addressing the trauma that comes as a result of such horror. Just last week, I did a video calling for more counsellors in the school system because police outnumber counsellors in 3 of the 5 largest school districts in America. None of the schools in the 10 largest school districts, including Florida, meet the minimum recommended number of counsellors. Most aren't even close. Not to mention that Florida is in the bottom 10 states for mental health funding across the country. This is a national emergency. This needs the focus of the country. These deaths come just a few days after prominent conservative mouthpieces lambasted the Parkland survivors and their families as a mob and demagogues. For what? Daring to ask that legislators consider reasonable gun control after yet another massacre?
Such demagogues. It's a mob basically screaming at you.
And they should feel ashamed instead of backpatting themselves.
What the hell is wrong with these people? That they'd rather vilify and alienate these kids and their families instead of listening to them. And that's the problem right there. Listening. I mean, look at what happens to these survivors after having to endure such trauma. If they dare speak out, they are vilified and smeared across the media. Parents of the Sandy Hook massacre have had to endure years of conspiracies and falsehoods spread by sickening individuals who are happy to fabricate lies to defect from the reality that this country refuses to address gun violence.
With that false news, he just doesn't care who he hurts. The impact that it has on people who already had the worst thing that could ever happen in your life, to lose a child.
And clearly, ignoring the post-traumatic effects of gun violence are just another part of the deflection. As Parkland survivors have expressed since the news broke of last week's tragedies, the trauma from that day doesn't go away, and not nearly enough attention or resources have been allocated to help those who have had to endure such tragedy, nor have we done enough to help prevent another from happening. It shouldn't be up to survivors of these atrocities to take to the streets and beg for change. Resources should be streaming in by the truckload. More counsellors, more treatment, more resources. This is a national emergency that has already taken the lives of Americans here at home and will continue to, because to some, they would rather shift the conversation and return to normality instead of helping address the threat that is here. This is not normal. Teachers being shot with rubber bullets in school shooting drills is not normal. Kids taking their own lives because of the trauma of a mass shooting should never be normal. More needs to be done because quite clearly, not enough is.
And if you're in crisis, remember you can always call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-TALK. You can also reach out via the crisis text line by texting HOME to 741-741.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. You can come over to my Instagram at Francis M. Maxwell and let me know what you think. And as always, resources to any outlet that you may need are below. You can support independent media. Did you know that TYT Network is now available on YouTube's new streaming platform, YouTube TV? Get access to full TYT episodes and exclusive shows by signing up for YouTube TV today. All new subscribers get a 7-day free trial, so head over to youtube.tv and search for the TYT Network channel.